I'm working a gentleman on this. We can, yeah, I don't see where we can't. Yeah.
Okay. Notice is hereby given that the Preston County Commission will sit as Board of Equalization and Review today, Tuesday, February 28th, 2023, beginning at 9:30 a.m. in the County Commission Meeting Room, Kingwood, West Virginia. And at this time, I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Preston County Commission. Today is February 28th, 2023, and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please let the record show that all three commissioners are present: Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Thomas, Commissioner Stone. And I will go ahead with a review of the bills.
I move to pay the bills that have been properly presented and approved.
I will second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the bills as they have been properly presented and reviewed. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Yes. We have nothing from our assessor's office today, is that correct? Today. All right. No apportionments, and so we will go on with our 9:31 appointment. Is she here? Darlene?
I heard this.
I do not see her.
All right, so.
Right now.
Hold up.
Oh, there, okay.
Hi!
Hi.
You're on!
You're up.
Thank you. That was the perfect timing. I hope you haven't been waiting.
No, no.
Yeah.
Literally, we just called your name and.
We have Darlene Bolyard and Elizabeth Satterfield from Arthurdale Heritage with a request for funding and letters of support.
Sorry.
How's everybody today?
Good.
After last night's storm? Hi, you did too. Okay, I'm going to be briefer than usual today because I know you all have a packed schedule. Sometimes I run a little long. Basically, some of it is just recapping the projects that you all gave us the ARPA money for which we are very grateful. I'd like to start with the security and fire alarm system. It has been installed. It is fully functioning. We've had the occasion for it to go off a couple times already. I do want to update you that we are also having it monitored monthly. I felt that there was no reason to have a fire and security if you're not going to have it monitored.
No, that's typically, you're supposed to have it monitored.
Yeah.
What's the point of it?
Right, exactly. So we went ahead, that's an additional cost we're absorbing, but that's the whole point. I just wanted to let you know. So the total cost, as you can see, was a little over $45,000. You all generously gave us almost $35,000. We did have a private donation of $5,000. Now we do have a remaining balance of $5,821.32. In a normal year, we could probably come up with that.
Is it possible that we could still have some ARPA money to just amend that initial award to just add that into it, you know what I mean? It's just a thought instead of us pulling.
I mean, have you guys paid the bill yet?
Yes, we have to. It's finished. And as you see attached,
It was just a thought.
but I already, it was we got the receipt, there you go. I mean, I don't know if you all should be able to do that. If you are, that we would be
I don't
great.
know that we can amend what
Actually,
we've done, and I'm
It
not
was just a
sure
thought, I
with
wasn't
what we
sure.
got left.
That
over,
would
but
be
we
very
can look at
clean
that.
when it came to the
Looking to, I don't know.
Well, anyway.
It was just a thought.
Yeah.
Whatever, we would be grateful. And you can see the invoices attached,
Mhm.
where the money went and how it was spent. It's a great system. I think I told you that last time. We're just asking for assistance. You all, of course, would be the ones to decide where the money would be allocated from if you feel that you can help us. Normally, like I said, I can generally come up with private donations or something.
Mhm.
With the emergency roof, we're pretty crushed, I have to tell you. Speaking of, the next information you have is on the emergency rubber roof replacements. We've been working really hard on this. It's almost $66,000 now. I will tell you that we have considerable concerns it will go higher. As you can see from the scope of work, if the wooden substructure is rotted, which there's a good chance, I think it might be, because it's been on there since 1990, we've patched and patched. It will be $11.50 a square foot. So we have gotten emergency funding from the State Historic Preservation Office, and we will be getting funding from the Arts Emergency Funding. They can only give 10,000 each. That's their max for emergency funding. There's no other place we can reach out to. The remaining balance is $45,873. The scope of work is basically a contract. We did have to sign a contract because the company that is doing this, which is, there's only 3 companies in the state that are qualified to do this. This company did the roof of the old post office in Washington.
Okay.
Highly recommended, and they actually were definitely not the most expensive, which is a rare thing. So those are our concerns with that. Am I missing one?
No, I mean, they were under contract, so they should hopefully be able to start in April. That's why we had to sign a contract to try to.
Right.
And they only had
Lock
that
them in
window.
ahead of time, yeah.
It was April or not this year. So,
Yeah. Which wasn't a good idea.
Yeah. Now, the reason these two things are worrisome, the 45,000 and the almost 6,000. Like I said, in a normal year, our donors are very gracious, foundations are gracious, SHPO and others. We already have to come up with almost 80,000 to match this year, and that's a push for us. So on top of the 80,000 we already had budgeted, we knew we had to come up with, we have had donors. We're still not there. We're still probably
80,000 to match what, other grants?
other grants.
Okay.
This is a push. I'm struggling. I'm worried. I'm really worried. You can only get so much over and over. So that's that. If you have questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, yes.
Have you reached out to Buck Jennings or George Street to see if they can make a contribution from the state legislature?
Yeah, I have spoken with them. We're not in Buck's district anymore, so
Right,
George is
George's
the only one who
district.
could really
Right.
get us money, and he's expressed interest in doing that. We just have to decide, where that, but that's like $5,000 max.
Yeah.
So we would just,
I know, but
that could help. We
anything
have talked to him about that, and I think he's gonna include us in his proposal.
Yeah. But so the total we need this year, including this, 121,000 I have to come up with. It's a lot. So it's a lot. I'm being very honest with you. The letters of support we are asking you for, and Elizabeth has what I feel is very, very well written out, the bullet points and the information about the 3 letters of support. The first, which is going to be a game changer, not only for the county, but the state. We have people from all over the state excited about this. We just got back from Charleston. We are visiting with Senator Manchin next week in DC to talk about the Historic Trade Center. We are also meeting, PAWB and AHI are meeting with Senator Capito also about the Historic Trade School. I cannot tell you of everything we've ever done in Arthurdale, this is statewide, full-on, and national now to be the trade school and the model for other places in the state of West Virginia. I'm really excited. Elizabeth and I have a meeting with Gail Manchin's team Wednesday in Pittsburgh about this. Our ARC money. We have an ARC grant. We have to finish the survey and then we are eligible for next year. But I'm gonna keep you updated. This is, it's almost like a dream. So we ask you for 2 letters of support, and if you would please email them rather than send them to them, because it has to be included in the application.
Yeah.
These are for earmarks. The deadline is March 12th to get them.
So are you wanting 3 letters of support
Yes.
or 2?
3.
3 altogether. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so the one to the Preservation Training Center, it will be the same letter, but one addressed to Senator Manchin and one addressed to Senator Capito. And then another letter to the Commission on the Arts, because we're applying for capital facilities and cultural facilities and capital resources grant to upgrade.
And the last one for SHPO.
Yeah, the last one's for SHPO, and the SHPO wants to do some masonry work. We have a chimney that's in very poor condition, that if we don't do something about it now, it's probably gonna topple and will cost thousands of dollars more. We have some other stone, pillars that need to be reconstructed. That's the SHPO one. The essential upgrades to the museum, we don't have any working bathrooms on that side of A Road where the museum and the forge are. There are 4 bathrooms there, but they're not currently functional, so this really limits our visitors for events, for programs, and it puts a strain on the system of our main building. So we're hoping to get bathrooms working, and then the Esso station does not have a functioning furnace right now. We have replaced furnaces in every other building, and this is the last one that needs replaced. So that's and those I have to get in by the end of March.
Now, this is money that will be, we have to commit this year. We're not asking you for funding on this. But this will be done in 2024, but we have to get our grant submissions in there.
Right. Well,
So, and it will be major improvements. We are almost to the point that all of the main structures, barring the schools, once we do this, the only thing we have left for the entire complex is the roof on the museum. So we will have in 7 years, have replaced all the roofs. I mean, we've done a major. So we're looking forward to finishing it and getting it all done, and
No more roofs.
no more roofs. Everybody tells us, please no more roofs, especially because Cedar shakes. But, so do you all have any questions? I went through that fast, but
I don't think we do, just.
We'll get those letters of support on that
Thank
for
you.
you.
Thank you
Especially
very
that
much.
one, especially, because that's shorter notice.
yeah, so,
Yeah, so let's go ahead and approve to write these letters of support.
I move that we approve the letter of support for the Arthurdale Arthurdale Heritage. I'm sorry.
that's all right.
I'm under the wind today. We have a second going.
I was getting ready to. I want to make sure you finished.
Yeah.
At this time, I second that motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded to move forward with supplying 3 letters of support for the Arthurdale Heritage for the items listed in the letters request for the training center, essential upgrades to existing buildings, and then the masonry restoration. Any further discussion on that? All right, Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Yes. So
Thank
we'll
you for
get
your
those
time.
done, and we will review the other requests.
Okay, we are grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hope you feel better, Commissioner Thomas.
I'll be kind.
All right, we'll go ahead and move forward with our 9:40 appointment. Linda Huggins, our county clerk, with a funding request for shelving.
Joe said that you got a copy of that.
Yes.
$24,972.
The last time I was here, we talked about utilizing the shelving that was in this back room. And I did talk to Joe Rue about that, and it's about 9 yards in length, this shelving is. And the vault at the max, the vaults that I have are 5, so we would have to.
Cut them in half essentially.
Won't fit.
And Joe felt that other shelving, down the road, wherever we're gonna, in the long-term plan, when things may change around here, that would be really be utilized somewhere in a place that would really take care of a lot of space when it comes to storing.
So, yeah, so the shelving in there is too long for your vault, which you can't change your vault.
Right.
Never could change it.
And this shelving has several shelves that will go through the ceiling, where, that had 3, and you're still gonna be stacking boxes on top of boxes.
And it only went out to about, 6 feet,
I don't know.
7 feet, yeah. And your vault has, how high a ceiling? Well, I have to
It
diagram
is almost 12, it's 11 feet.
11 feet,
per
so you
floor. It's
could
higher than 11.
utilize that space all the way up to the ceiling.
And the vault, if you would take a wander down there and check it out, it's full. And it's full because we have to keep 10 years worth of bookkeeping, invoices, payroll, a lot of stuff we have to keep. on a 10-year cycle. And not only that, but there's several books in there that we have to keep, land books, ordering books from the record room.
We want you to get rid
Move to that area.
we don't want you to get rid of those.
They're there and they're nice and dry.
And I can
They're good
contest that I did go down there today and the boxes are stacked.
Yeah, it's-
Probably as high as they can go.
And we have taken out of there almost everything that I can, that the records management schedule for the county clerk allows me. So if you want me to look at some other ideas and revisit the shelving, but I just wanted to share with you what Joe and I thought about that other shelving.
Well, I'm not, we need to do something, but I would, is this the only quote you got?
It is, but I want to share with you. I got this from, I knew that Betsy, the circuit clerk's office, when Betsy was circuit clerk, had this same shelving, real similar. And I tried to find it, I couldn't find it. And so I reached out to the vendor and he said that she had gotten that, but it was paid through, she actually paid the manufacturer for it. That's why I couldn't find it. So, but it was
But it's
in
the exact same,
2007, $21,000 for that shelving.
in the exact same unit. Correct,
Right, yes.
pretty much
Yes.
apples
So
to
it's only in that amount of time.
Okay. Is there something, I mean, I think we need to research a little bit to
Okay.
see where we would want to pull the funding from. That's like the biggest question I have, and I don't wanna push it through and say we're gonna fund it and not uncertain where we're pulling the
Right.
money from. So I don't
That's
want
fine.
to do an
That's
approval
fine,
today. I'm good.
And then
with
you're
the quote.
just moving the, your one shelf, you're, rotating,
Yeah.
what do you call that?
Retriever. It's
Retriever.
an electric.
You're gonna move it
Yeah.
from the one end of the vault to the other by the door, and then your shelf's gonna be on the far side.
And he's gonna do all that. The vendor would move all that.
Yeah, I see that's part of the price, $1,000.
It would definitely take care of your, storage issue for now.
In the vault, yes. Yes.
Well, why don't you give us,
I mean, we're getting ready to move into the budget meetings here, what, in
Yeah.
a week or
Right.
so, and so this can just follow.
This,
Oh, yeah.
I think this is good.
Yeah,
But I wanted to share with you that, you'd be cutting that in half and that would just,
That won't, it's not gonna work.
It's
plus you're
really
not
not the
gonna,
best.
you're
It's not
not
really
gonna get
suited.
as much storage out of that as you would
Right.
a new system. Well, I appreciate your
Okay.
time.
Thank you, Linda.
This has 7 shelves on it, where that just had 3. So,
Right.
it's easier to get it out.
Right.
Boxes.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, thank you so much. All right, next up, we have Eric Batista, Town of Rollsburg, with an ARPIT agreement signing. Good morning. If you would just like to tell everyone what you're gonna be doing with these ARPA funds.
Dolores is a park commissioner and can explain it better than me.
Yes, we are renewing, we're putting metal roofing on all the pavilions in the
Okay.
park, along with the concession stand. And I've given him the receipts for everything, but, it's gonna be bright red, so you'll be able to see the park when you come into Rollsburg.
And I mean, it's such a beautiful park.
Yeah, and that they definitely need replaced, they're pretty bad shape.
You guys do a lot of,
We do
a lot of events down at
Yes,
the
we
park.
do a lot of fundraising, dinners and
I guess we're probably gonna get into that in a little bit with the, revitalization committee too.
Right.
What is your guys' next, big event? Is that?
in the park, actually, we'll start the 1st of June doing our Friday night dinners.
Mhm.
We'll be doing those every Friday night. Softball
Sorry, I
team
didn't
starts
introduce
in April.
What do the dinners usually consist of?
We usually have a full course
Full
dinner,
course.
for instance, meatloaf, scalloped potatoes, green beans.
They do a very good job.
Yeah.
I like a chance to get dinner, do it.
I've been down, I was down at the, was it Labor Day Festival?
Labor Day's our biggest.
The beef sandwiches?
Yes.
Yeah, them are good, full beef.
But our dinners go over very well, and we're gonna try and keep most of our dinners at the $10 price too, so.
Which is really
Yeah,
good,
Yeah.
really good.
The rest of that. All right, we do have a certificate for you guys. Can we get a picture? Dolores, come on up here. Anybody that would like to come up, be part of this picture. It's not every day that the Preston County Commission can award funding to our desperately needed towns for some awesome repairs to be
Okay,
done.
what order are we going?
Just come on around here.
Oh, I get to stand by you.
Cheese.
No, because strong on Ryan.
All right, here's your certificate.
Well.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You guys are getting,
Thank you very much.
you're getting it going on that project.
Yes,
It's great.
it should be done in a couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks, yeah.
Yes,
That's what I thought.
thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for the continued work there. It's such a wonderful place. I was born, I lived in Rollsburg when I was born. No, not in
You
Rollsburg. I was born in Kingwood,
almost said that.
I corrected
It's
it.
like,
I was born down by the river.
Baptized straight out of the
That's
water.
right.
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
There's some stuff I've got to sign on that, Joe.
No, I just handed it to him. I didn't make it.
No, they came apart, so they're out of order.
Okay.
The only thing we need is,
Is there one in the back that I did see?
that's a funding request.
Okay.
This is,
David Hartley.
that's free.
Okay, we're gonna move forward with our 9:50 appointment. We're running 2 minutes behind on everything today, so it's just working out. Roger Schrapp, Preston County Master Gardeners, requests permission to use the McGrew House property for the open air farmers market, and he is here in place of Bill Shockey, who has traditionally done this, if that helps to remind you of what he's needing. So good morning, Mr. Schrapp, how are
Good
you?
morning to you all. I had recently sent a memo by email to each commissioner.
We got her.
And Joe,
And
and
Joe.
welcome. So from me to you, and I have a little thing I'd like to read here. I'm here with my wife, Melinda.
Not Linda.
Melinda. I'm the president and she's the secretary of Preston County Master Gardeners. As stated in the memo, we're requesting permission to use the McGrew House for an open air farmers market, which, by the way, Mr. Shockey, Dr. Shockey, started this many years ago, like 20-some years ago, off and on. He's passing the gavel as he retires. And he didn't want to lose the farmer's market for the community, for the county. So he's been secretly training some of us.
Behind the scenes.
He said, you guys come over, you can volunteer and you can learn how to manage the farmer's market. And you get volunteer hours to stay in Master Gardener. Well, we didn't know it, but here we are today. And he wants,
I know, I saw you over there.
he needs that to be managed this year due to the fact that he doesn't expect a replacement to be in the extension office for himself for quite a long time. David's a good backup, but he's got a lot of other things.
You got a lot of other stuff on your plate.
So the only thing that's going to change this year would be, we will not do Tuesdays.
I was getting ready to ask, I didn't see it on here, I just want to make sure. Okay.
We're just looking at finance, Tuesdays was was not attended very well.
Yeah, it was hit or miss, I agree with you.
And Saturdays was our big one. And in fact, the proceeds from last year were over $20,000 of sales from June to September. That was up 7% from the year before.
That's good.
Bill kept good records. And so basically, we're asking, and we will provide a copy of insurance to the Master Key as before June starts.
Okay. Well, at this time, I make a motion that we approve this request to use the McGrew area, McGrew House to conduct the open air farmers market on Saturday mornings.
I'd like to second that motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the request from Mr. Schrock to use the McGrew facility June 3rd through September 23rd for the open air farmers market. Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
yes.
Come by and get a free apple.
Apple a day.
How many vendors are typically set up
Average around,
on Saturdays?
I was gonna say, it fluctuates from up to, I've seen a dozen there. Like a certain cake, depends on what's in season.
and we've had attendance from the community up from 10 people to 240 people. It depends upon
Which
what's
is
for
great, a
sale.
lot of local money in the economy.
Yes. And it's fun to be around the farmers. Preston County is a farming county, and that probably hopefully will always be.
Now, do you guys still have your gardening contest?
We have done that for a while.
Haven't done it for a while. I used to do that when I was a kid.
Any other questions?
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Yes.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right. We're actually a couple minutes ahead, so let's go ahead with,
Not for the.
all right, at this time, we do need to have, actually, we can't do that till 10:05, right?
No,
Okay, let's go ahead with the approval of our minutes.
This time I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for February 9th.
I'd like to second that motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes for February 9th, 2023. Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Yes. Let's go ahead with our estate settlement list.
I would like to approve the state settlement list for February 6th, 2023 through February 16th, 2023 for Brady Hoffer, Betty Sue Mooch, John Day, Vilco, and Brandon Russell Plum.
I'll second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the estate settlement list, February 6th through February 16th, 2023 for Hoffer, Moats, Pavelko, and Plum. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Yes. PIVs.
This time I'd like to make a motion to dispense with the reading of the PIVs and accept them with the record February 16th through February 22nd.
I would like to second that motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded to dispense with the readings of the proceedings and vacation and enter them into record for February 16th through February 22nd, 2023. Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Yes. All right. We just have a minute. Well, we can go ahead. It's close enough. We'll go ahead with Justin Wolf, our OEM 911 Assistant Director, with the EMPG grant award and signature request.
Enlighten everybody what an EMPG.
So this is for a 2020 Emergency Management Performance Grant Award. The state was pretty behind there for a while, backlog, so actually we did it in 2019, not too long ago, so it's kind of trickling back in. But anyway, Emergency Management Performance Grant is a reimbursement. What we use it for is to reimburse salaries for Dwayne and myself. And the 2020 will be in the amount of $44,736. It's not quite as much as it used to be, but it's been holding
Just
right
can you
on there.
repeat that amount, please?
Yes, $44,736.
It's an
And,
EMPG grant award.
yes, yeah, they, yeah, it's kind of like VIN number, a little bit redundant there.
I know, it's, well, it's like the ordinance, POV vehicles, it's like, that's what it is, it's a private
And
vehicle.
authorize you to
vehicle.
sign it.
Yep, exactly, same deal.
Okay, well, at this time, I would like to move to, approve the EMPG grant award and requests and authorize the president to sign.
That was second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the EMPG grant award in the amount of $44,736 and authorize the president to sign. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Yes.
And I've submitted 21, so hopefully here before too long, we'll see 21's coming back in as well. But anyway, in the past year, we've got 19, 20, and 21 done, so.
Okay. So here's this. We can get a copy for Dee Dee
Yes.
once it's completed.
Yes, I will email you about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. We still have 4 minutes.
So she can put it in the spot.
Yeah, and once
That way she
they,
won't forget it.
once they sign and get back, I'll let you know second the state's signatures too.
We can talk just briefly. I don't think there's a whole lot on these.
I have.
Other stuff, but
Joe, do you have anything you can go over that will just take 4 minutes? If not, we can just wait.
I think we can go ahead.
I think a couple of these things you can do, like the these things.
Yeah, we have just a couple of things on this in these correspondence. First off is the letter from Shirley Hartley, the treasurer of the Westburg Revitalization Committee. And essentially, she just wanted to send this letter to you to inform you that they have things that are coming up and that she would like to come in and speak next week on these events and whether promotional funding would be available.
Yeah, I ran into her the other day and told her that we'd be talking about budget stuff coming up, so.
So she'll be on the agenda for next week.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
We have the budget revisions at all?
We have no budget
I didn't think
revisions.
so.
We do, however, have correspondence. Centus has sent us their annual facilities solutions agreement covering the uniforms, the mats. Apparently, we still have a center pool towel dispenser somewhere.
Center pool, wasn't that the disposable tab?
Is it the disposables?
Yes, that's-
Okay,
Isn't it right?
They get refilled.
There's
Yeah,
some right
oh,
there.
yeah.
That's that little thing.
So it's
Kinda
not-
like,
Right.
no, it's like one
Center.
little touch, it's on.
There's
One's
ones right
right
there.
So the ones that we
Yeah, yeah,
We've
that's
got them.
Okay.
We have them, so.
Yes.
All right. As long as we don't have the old block ones somewhere.
Oh, God, no.
So at that point, there is no price increase from Cintas this year, so they have sent their agreement again, and I would ask that the agreement be approved and the president be authorized to sign.
This time I make a motion, we approve and authorize the president to sign the agreement with Centos.
Would like to second that motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the Centos agreement and authorize the president to sign. Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Yes. Joe, I'm not really seeing here, other than just under
That would
customer.
be, yes,
Just-
yes, the
is it
customer, if
just-
you sign and print there.
Okay, okay. And I signed the one that was pretty with the color. So it looks like.
Sheriff's in the report.
Fill in the email, Joe. All right, here we go. All right, at this time, Let me find my paper. This time, we have the amended fire department reimbursement fee ordinance that we must have the second reading of by title, and then we can approve that. So,
Either of us?
whoever wants to.
Go right ahead.
Well,
we need to open the hearing. In person.
Because it's a hearing.
Yeah, it's a hearing, yeah.
Just,
Just open.
It's open.
There you go.
Okay,
I mean,
so
that's
at
kind of what I
There's
was
no reason
doing.
to get too elaborate with it. It's open.
Okay,
That's
at this
why I
time,
thought I did that when I acknowledged it. I'm sorry.
at
I
this
thought
time,
so too, truthfully.
okay,
I
so
thought
at
you
this
had
time, we're gonna have the second reading for the ordinance of the Preston County Commission relating to the reauthorizing volunteer Preston County fire companies to charge reasonable reimbursement fees. That's all for it.
That's it. Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve by title the second reading of this ordinance for the amended fire department reimbursement fee. Just notate that it went from $500 to $1,500. That allows up to $1,500. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Yes. Now we need a motion to approve it. Now that we've done the second.
At this time, I would like to move to approve the amended ordinance of the Preston County Commission authorizing volunteer fire departments in the county to charge reasonable reimbursement fees.
No, second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the ordinance authorizing volunteer Preston County fire companies to charge a reasonable reimbursement fee ordinance. Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Oh,
No,
Commissioner
no, no.
Thomas? I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
You're
That's
fine.
okay.
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Yes. All right, then we have to sign this. Do we have to adjourn that hearing? I don't. Don't need a motion to adjourn.
I don't know that we need a motion.
All right.
Let this-
It's adjourned.
Okay. I like the attitude, yeah.
All right, is it Monday? Maybe. No, I'm kidding.
I'm feeling you too.
All right, we can
Here's
move on with our EMS ordinance discussion. Hunter?
So I just had some stuff, I pulled some numbers from, each year the, census does an average, and every 10 years they, take polls of how many people are employed in West Virginia. I mean, not in West Virginia, in Preston County. And that is coming out to around 6,500 to, 6,600 people employed in Preston County.
What was that again?
6,600 is the average, just to round it. I took a 5-year average of what the census was putting.
And that's actually people employed in the
Employed
county.
in Preston County. Yeah,
That are
we have
actually
12,
working in the county.
yeah, actually working in the county. That's if we wanted to do, bill by employee,
Right.
okay? So that's a rough date on that. And then there's around 15,000, just roughly, billable structures, residential structures. And then out of them 15,000 in the year of 2023, about 4,250 of them have a homestead exemption discount. So that's our numbers. But with the number, but here's what we need to remember, and I was trying to find this date all week, but it's hard, is you have to remember the Board of Education is going to be exempt from the employee.
Everybody at Dawson.
Everyone
everybody
at
prison.
Dawson, everyone at the prison, and I could find information everyone, I would assume everyone here, Preston County Commission. And I tried to find information for, the prison up at Hazelton, and that was very hard
For
to.
the number of employees?
Yeah, that's very hard to,
To see actually how many people, employees,
Yeah,
businesses would
because
have that we could actually charge.
well, the federal prison just doesn't put out how many people, numbers of how many people they have.
That's a security.
Yeah, security thing, so that's very hard to find. But I would just say roughly out of the 6,600 average, I'm gonna say only, I would say, what would you say, Justin, 4,000 are actually billable employees?
I would say probably 2/3,
Yeah.
because you're gonna, the school, with the school board and
That's
everybody.
what I
Big
said,
employers.
That's what I said,
You're just tossing
4,000.
them out, yep. Well, I was just agreeing with you. Hunter.
Yeah,
Say
okay,
2/3, I mean, that's.
So we're gonna say roughly that's 4,200, 4,100, all the way down to 4,000. But what I was doing with that is I think if you bill based off employee, even if you only collected on 3,500, that would still bring in more money than billing on business structures.
When it comes to businesses.
Yeah, because there's 779 businesses in the county based off the most recent data. So if you build on that, that would be less than building off employee. I mean, employees very variable.
But here's the thing, Hunter, if you charge for on a business, it's more money than per head employee, because you can't charge $50 an employee, you have to charge much, much less than that. Otherwise,
I know, Don, but when you have 700 billable business structures and you times that, let's say let's just do the math here. So we do.
You did $50.
Let's do I'm not doing $50,
I'm just
but you do 7,000 times, let's say we're shooting for a $30 fee. 30 is,
7,000, you said?
I mean, 700.
Oh, okay.
700 businesses roughly, because that's variable too. All these numbers change all the time. Times that 20, or let's do the $30 fee. That's 21,000 right there.
Right.
If you're able to, say you do 15 an employee head, so you do 4,000 times 15, that's 60,000
Right.
collected off businesses.
Right.
So I think that's the better way. I know it's a lot more legwork, but I think that's a better way to truly spread out the
Hunter, I've always said I had no problem with that, it's just, I didn't have the numbers, and I didn't want.
Well, trust me,
guess.
they're hard to get.
And I didn't wanna guess
The FC
something,
The
I don't
FCC,
wanna make an assumption on something.
the FCC, that's hush hush, so the numbers are, you can only predict.
Right.
And, I mean, we know the Board of Education and Preston County Commission and all that, and Camp Dawson, but I think 4,000 is just a guideline on how many employees you could bill.
Yeah,
Now, what you would collect on that, you would probably have to take another 20,000 off the top of that. But I think that's really the direction I want to go on the businesses.
and that's fine, like I said, I just didn't have the number, and I didn't wanna make an assumption.
And then with the actual billable structures, and I don't have my math in front of me, but there's 4,250 roughly, or let's just say 4,000 are homestead exemption. So you're gonna lose 20% off of 4,000 of the billable structures. So if you do 4,000 times,
And you said there were 15,000 billable structures, so you're nearly at. a
you're
third.
nearly at, but there's more than, what, Connie, there's usually about 55,600, 55,500
I
billable
didn't
structures.
really evaluate the, especially that was sent to you before. I've asked Matt.
The billable structures that you'd sent to us, it was 15,000, whatever it was.
I'm just rounding down. That's true. It's a good, it could be a quarter of the portion,
And
so.
what did you say was?
I've asked Matt for an updated list.
Okay.
And that's why I took that 20% off the top of what we had, because roughly accounted for homestead, discounts for them and things,
Are you you're including disability in that?
what's that now?
You're including disability, homestead disability?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a homestead exemption, it's homestead exemption, correct?
Well, there's two different kinds.
Well, I understand, but I was kind of lumping them together, I
That's
understand
what
what you're saying.
So if you, and I'm really leaning towards a $30 fee, but if you did that 4,000 times $30, that would put you at 20%. If the 20% discount or whatever discount we were wanting to do with homestead exemption, that would be $24,000 off that 120, so that puts you at 96,000. And then your other percentage, your 15, or your 11,000 billable structures times, say you did a $30 fee, but this is all to be determined, and that's where your 330,000 comes from, and 330,000 plus your 96.
But like I said, you gotta swipe 20% off of that because you're not gonna collect that. That's why I did that, what I did on the math.
So 20%
You
off.
take
of the
20% off the
333.
top of all that, yeah. Just deduct it because you're not gonna collect it.
Yeah, so 420, that's what I'm getting at, so 426 times 0.20 is 85, so 85 from 426. So that only puts you at 341, 350 collected altogether. So that's, I think what we're really gonna need to do here, we need to find a true shortfall on what our actual shortfall.
I was just,
from.
well, when I did the shortfall, I did what they had given us as their average over the last 5 years, and that's what I went with. I'm assuming they weren't lying about the number. And that's what they had given us, so that's what I went with when I came up with that amount. I just broke it down, with.
Well, Commissioner Stone, what's your opinion on the actual shortfalls?
Well, with the meetings that we have had with the committee, my question always was, it looked worse in 2020 than what it actually was. So I didn't feel that the numbers were a true representation of a shortfall or a gap that they were referencing.
And I can speak to that. I've been to pretty much every EMS board meeting except for one, and they're all breaking even now. We're not coming ahead. It's just the fact that pay needs to be higher for them to be competitive for neighboring areas.
Yeah, so I think that the average is that the numbers that were used is not a true reflection. And I don't believe, if we want to reference what Commissioner Smith had put together last week and handed out, the option 3 was not something that allowed for growth or anything. It was just sustaining. There was nowhere to go with it. It was just, fixing currently.
Well, like I said, that number was their 5-year average, because I know we did discuss, that's why we asked for a 5-year average.
Then we get into
that
this,
average
and
in
Justin, what
2020.
was your ideal salary for a EMS administrator of?
The total price was $86,000.
When you get ready to.
You put all the benefits and everything else in there.
That would be the top end because.
Yeah, because I added that into the administrative.
Yeah, that was based on the most expensive insurance plan that the county has on somebody and.
Right, the retirement and everything else, And it tabled down to $86,000.
Yeah, I think the base will be just 25 an hour, I
Well,
think.
the fact of the matter is, if we go the hybrid route, there's gonna be some startup costs, 230, 240, 250, maybe less. I think once you get that hybrid system started, the county part, I think, can sustain itself. Maybe not fully, but break even. So I don't think that's much of a burden onto the ordinance fee. The only concern would be is that EMS administrator salary, and if we would be pulling that out of the fee.
Well, that was why I included that in that one scenario, in each of the scenarios, that what, for administrative costs, this is what you have to have. Because not only do you have to have the administrator's cost, you have to have that 6% to do the billing and stuff. So you need that added amount in there so you can send out, the fees, the fee bill to whoever, whatever, whether it be business per head or for a structure. So, and that's where that 6% was added in.
And then we get into another thing, so that employment data, I was able to find, doesn't really account for part-time employees. So we could do a partial charge to businesses on part-time employees that would bring more revenue in or bring more money in for EMS. But that's something we have to decide if that's the route we're going.
Me personally, I've not felt comfortable putting numbers out there, even suggesting what we think a fee is gonna look like, yet. Because we don't have, concrete data, yet. And
With
so,
With the employee numbers, you're just never gonna have any concrete
There's always gonna be
data
fluctuation.
until you actually bill, because like I said,
And that's why I shied away from that one.
well, the data from the census is probably my average is probably pretty tight, but with the part-time employees, that's just, that could be up to anyone to guess.
okay. Additionally, on the EMS, topic, we had established a EMS advisory committee that meets the first Thursday of every month. Justin, am I correct with that? Meets the first Thursday of every month. Justin, can you just give a rundown of what really takes place in that meeting and what you think is coming of it? That, I mean, from what I'm seeing, especially in these last couple weeks, where we're getting into the EMS discussion a little heavier, what's happening is one or two of us have been attending that meeting, and we have a discussion. When we get there, it really just turns into, how are you gonna fund us? But, that's really, it's not, and I don't think that's what initially, because that meeting was going on for probably a year prior to Hunter coming on board. And it was really, I think, put together to figure out a mechanism, reporting to see, and it's really morphed away from that. And so and what happens is after that meeting or after a work session, we get a lot of phone calls from different agencies in the county wanting to meet and discuss and trying to understand and whatnot. And so I really feel like maybe that meeting is not truly as beneficial as it was initially. And I would like to see that instead of doing that meeting, that we just have the work sessions to move forward where we're all three here. We can discuss it with them when they arrive. When they're here, we can talk about everything here in a work session. So, I mean, what's your thoughts on that meeting, Justin?
Yeah, I agree. I think that the work session would be better. You can have all three commissioners' inputs on it. And you can have all the ambulance services as well. The squads, can be here and get the information firsthand, because I think sometimes some of the information wasn't getting taken back to the squads, so they were kind of left out in the dark a little bit. But it would be my recommendation just to move it to your EMS workshops, and
That just
I think it would be more productive myself.
That just clears up any misconceptions when
Yeah,
we
very,
go to these meetings and try to do good work and,
well, very
nothing
clear
comes out.
transparency that way. I mean, what's said, is there. And I told them when we started that, you've got one commissioner that sits on this, they can't speak for the other two commissioners.
That's right.
So, I've always been a little leery on that myself, but, I think that your work sessions, I agree, would be your better option.
I think so too. And they're on record and
Sure, yes,
minutes are taken. And,
yes.
that way there's just no more, I
No miscommunication. at that
right, no room for that. So do we want to, take some action to do away with that advisory meeting? Justin, there is another meeting that EMS comes together and meets for the purpose of their reporting and everything that you guys do, right?
Well, they have their own EMS association meeting, which, it's not necessarily was driven towards this type of thing. It's more of a, kind of a policies and procedure and, we need to be doing this, or, here's some training we need to take. So they'll still have their association meetings that everyone has a representative on if they so choose to be, which I believe all of them are.
And the squads will still report stuff to you monthly.
Yes, so I don't foresee any problems. That's not really their EMS association function, but, basically we would just say instead of having it at the committee meeting, we'll need this for the workshop. So they would still just turn their reports in. I think you could use that as the same function.
Okay. And I think it's important that the members that have been serving on that advisory committee attend the work sessions. This meeting will just, scheduled work sessions for EMS as we have information that's beneficial to moving forward. I think that would be beneficial for them versus them taking time out of their schedules and getting called out, not being able to attend those advisory committees. I just think this will be more beneficial in moving forward with this.
I mean, if that's something, how do we take action on that?
Just take action that there'll be no more first Thursday of the month EMS advisory committee meetings, and they'll transition to.
Yeah, you all started that committee, so
We started it.
that's your call, because that's not a normal function that we've ever done in the past. They can still have their own association meetings, and
Oh, yeah.
this was just a committee that you all appointed to try to start the initial process of this, and I agree, you're getting far enough in, or, deep enough into it now that it probably needs to be a little bit more formal and like you said, that way it's,
Right.
it's fully open. Well, they were always fully open, but that way you're
That's all.
making harder decisions now than what you were initially.
Well, I move that we relinquish meeting on the first Thursday of every month for the Preston County EMS advisory meetings and encourage all the members of that committee to attend EMS work sessions to get all the proper information.
I'm second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to disband the EMS advisory committee meetings that are being held on the first Thursday of every month at the 911 center, transitioning that to scheduled, commission scheduled EMS work sessions, those as needed. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Yes. Justin, if you would take care of notifying the people on that we're going to transition that meeting into work sessions, that would be wonderful.
It's not sure.
I think it makes more sense in the long run anyway, to get that advisory.
All right,
I just have one more second here.
okay, yeah.
Have some numbers. I mean, like, I know we don't want to put any key numbers out there, but we have to do something to continue to move on this. And I truly feel when these are just rough numbers and everything's going to be variable until we actually bill. If you do, 35, say you do a $35 fee on the 4,000 homestead exemption unit in the county, that gives you 140,000. And then, you take 20% of that, then you take the 20% homestead exemption off, that leaves you with, 112. And then, you go over to your regular 1,000 units, 35, that gives you, 385,000. And you combine the two, and these are the billable units, that's 497,000. You take off the 20,000 for non-collectibles, and we've already took 20%, I mean, we've already taken the 20% off for the homestead exemption. That leaves you with $397,000 and $397,000 and $600. And I can't talk today.
The only problem I have with that
And then-
number is that would not cover the cost of it's like $668,000 just to cover the cost if you have a county run even just one unit. So that's not
And then-
even enough to cover that.
Then you go
That's
over
my
to
only problem with
employees and say you bill 4,000 employees, 35, that's 140, take off your 20%, which is 28,000, that gives you 112. You combine the 397 and the 112, that shoots you out at 509,000. And honestly, Dawn, even if we put a hybrid truck on the ground, I think that would be close to adequate enough. I don't think our shortfalls are
But it's
as
not
big
gonna-
as what's been predicted.
So you're still gonna have at least they're gonna be collecting at a 40% rate, 40 to 45% rate. But that's the only problem I have. So then you're still gonna be short. That's the only problem. I have.
How are we gonna be short? Because every other agency in the county bills, and we're past the COVID years now, and they're coming out ahead or breaking even. I mean, there's a downfall in the wages, and I think that's where a lot of their money truly needs to go. So I think if the county range system was on the ground and, we had the startup money, the 230 from somewhere in our county budget or CARES or ARPA funding, so that wouldn't be factored in. And once we get the county range system on the ground, I think we can bill and by the end of the year, break even. And if we need to move funds around to pay them employees initially, we can, but I don't think you need to equate that whole 1.2 million into the ordinance fee.
There's some other factors that we have to, first of all, the bill's moving through the legislation right now. It's really looking promising on something happening. I've been emailing daily pushing and had support from other commissioners across the state. Been working hand in hand with Chris Hall of the EMS Coalition. He's been keeping me in the loop of what needs to be relayed to our legislators so that we can, there's going to be something. I don't think it's going to be what we would like to see this year, but also having additional discussions with George Street. Work is already being, what's going to happen next year in the legislative session to make this even better or get it right. But it's got to start somewhere. The funding has to start somewhere. And so I feel good about that portion, something coming through for that.
I feel
And then,
good with a portion, but moving forward, if we want to put a county range truck on the ground or some form or fashion of it, there has to be a steady revenue source. And part of that may come out of legislation, but I don't think we need to, I guess the session's going to be done here in a week.
yeah.
but,
It is. And we'll have an idea on that. And again, I'm going to revert back to a partnership is needed with Mont Health, with Preston Memorial, to help here. And so,
Well, why
those are all
don't we,
things that we're working on.
Why don't we get a meeting on the table for that with Mont Health?
We've been working on that. That's something, and a trip to
Hampshire County.
Yes.
Commissioner Hawks, they're checking his schedule to
Yeah,
see whenever
so
he can
those are all
meet with
things
you
that
all.
we're still working on, so, okay. What I would like to do is, when's the session set to close? Is it March 10th? Is that,
Hold on a second.
Kathy, do you know?
And that sounds about right.
It sounds, yeah. And so what I would like to do is go ahead and get scheduled. We have budget stuff coming up, but I would like to get scheduled another EMS work session, because this is where all this stuff really needs to be, is in a work session. Where we have, other people here that have the data and different things that we're needing. So after we get through budget, probably that end of the third week of March, can we look at a work session once we wrapped up our budget stuff? Because then we'll have some more data that we should have gone and had our meeting. Do you anticipate it'll be out any further than that?
Hopefully, I asked for, I think it was, it was the 1st and 2nd this week, and I think 8th and 10th of next week.
Okay.
So it was, they were Wednesday, Thursday, or Fridays.
Okay.
And,
March
so,
12th.
Just let us know whenever you got that.
yeah, so it'll probably won't be this week, but hopefully next week.
March 12th is a Sunday.
Yeah, that's what it
They
says. That's what
adjourned
it
at
says,
midnight.
though. I'm just going with what it says.
It says they
Yeah,
adjourned
it
at
sounds
midnight,
right.
March 11th.
Okay, all right. So, do we want to go and schedule
Schedule a work session.
for the end of, after we get through these next couple of weeks?
Yeah, they adjourn at midnight on March the 11th, is what it is.
We can have.
It's really not that far. Tomorrow's March 1st.
No, it's not. It's, in fact, that's the, March 1st is the last day to consider a bill on third reading in the House, and if it doesn't happen, it's not going anywhere.
Okay, so March 11th
Done
was
by
the last
tomorrow, it's not
day.
happening.
So, the following week of the 13th through the 17th, any day would work for
No,
me.
I can't do any that week. It has to be like the week of the 20th.
Has to be the week of the
Yes.
20th. Okay.
Would be during the day.
And we can do anything when I don't care. Either
How
way.
about Mondays are out for me, just
Let's do the 22nd.
because they're Mondays. Okay.
What is on the 22nd? There's something on there.
What is it? I have a spaghetti dinner. I have Lions dinner.
And I do too. I'll be there, but we can do it during the day on the 22nd.
Or we can do it the evening of the 21st, probably.
When's your budget due?
Yeah, when is that date?
Yeah, we are approving on March 28th, so the 20th through the 22nd are your 3 big days for the hearings and
Right.
putting things together.
I'm gonna plug a lot of these numbers and different scenarios on how we bill and fees, and if we were to receive, funding from Law and Health, that way I can show you guys different equations. That way it's easy to see, it's right in front of you, but, I'm not comfortable if we do an ordinance going over a $30 fee. We'll just have to see after this legislative session. I have some hope that, the surcharge may go through, or the real good one would be 429, the health and safety fee. That would probably generate the most revenue for EMS and fire departments in the county, but we'll just have to see.
That's Senator Smith's.
Yeah.
Senate bill. So what's your recommendation, Joe? You know what the schedule looks like.
I'm gonna say the 22nd during the day.
We will be here on the 22nd for the budget reasons, so if you want to take a quick half hour out to do EMS.
I think if we're doing a work session, it'd probably be.
Oh,
longer
well,
than an hour.
no, let's do the 21st then.
What other days that week, Joe? You had said there were several days that week. I'm sorry, I got the wrong calendar pulled up here.
23rd and 24th, the Thursday and Friday. Other stuff will be done budget-wise, but I think as far as your schedule goes, one of those 2 days.
Okay,
You
so
don't
you're,
think the 21st will be doable? Well, the county commission meeting, but after the county commission meeting, or is that just too
All right.
much of a long haul?
but you just never know how long it's gonna go. All right, so what are you, and I don't wanna cut it short, it's gonna be probably a big meeting.
So these 3 days are just gonna be,
All three, 21st, okay, so you're
Sure.
saying one of these days.
because you're going to have your department meetings
Okay,
this day, and then these 2 days you're gonna come back.
and we're gonna have meetings with EMS work session, or for budget meetings. Okay, so you're
So-
suggesting the 23rd.
Justin, you think you could get us in before this work session? New Hampshire County,
The 23rd or?
Oh, yeah, I would hope so.
and then,
Let's just schedule for the
as
23rd.
far as we need to get it,
The 23rd for Hampshire,
No,
oh, for here.
Yeah.
That's
20
fine.
a work session,
23rd work
yeah.
session.
Yeah.
I may not be here
9
the
a.m.
23rd, but I don't necessarily have to, but if you're needing any of my numbers.
Okay,
23rd work for you?
I can't, I'm out of the office on the 23rd, but.
Are you going on the 24th?
I'll be back the
Okay,
24th, yes.
then let's do it for the 24th.
9
9
a.m.? 9 a.m.?
Yeah.
I think we just really need to sit down and do more crunching than just percenting, if that makes sense, and actually dig down deep into it. And then, how about a meeting with, do we want to try to get a meeting with Mon Health here soon before this work session?
I mean, yes, and I've already kind of started the dialogue, so they're open for discussion. So,
Yeah, you have that connection, not me.
so we'll get that worked out. We'll get that worked out. We got just a little bit of time here to get everything to line out here. Dawn, do you have anything additionally that you'd like to add here?
I do anything, I'd like Hunter to do if he could get his numbers down on a piece of paper so I can,
I'll do it in
digest
Excel,
it.
I'll do it in Excel.
Yeah, that's fine. If you put it in Excel, it's great.
I need to try to do, I'm gonna try to find some numbers from the prison, some hard numbers, because I think that's close to 800,
I mean, it's a
900.
good chunk of employees.
But the thing is, we won't get anything from there.
Well,
That's-
I'm just trying to determine how much of the actual employees in the county, will be
Yeah,
billed.
somewhere around 700 on staff. Normally it should be like 800, but I think.
They're always
They're so short staffed, they're probably, I'm gonna say around 700 mark from normal.
And Hope would also be government. Now, are you thinking of leaving out nonprofits?
And that was thank you for bringing that up. I was thinking about that last night, and I don't know the direction on that. Because a lot of our employment in our county is either government,
Yeah, that's
Maybe
why I
it's
shied away
important.
with it when I did my numbers, because I was like,
but
it
it's
was
still
getting
gonna
too
bring,
complicated, in my opinion, with,
well, it's still
all
gonna
that.
bring more revenue than just building business structures. That our two biggest employers are Board of Education, FCC.
I think if you look on last time I looked on the webpage, not the census, but the state's workforce, West Virginia, I think Walmart was one of our top employers.
yeah, it is,
And that's a lot of part-time.
right.
And that's
A lot of
another thing
part-time.
we need to
Yeah,
determine
it's a lot
is a
of
part-time, maybe do a part-time fee for them
We'll have to be
employees.
across the board for employees, not breaking it down for full-time, part-time, because then everyone's gonna be up their part-time.
Well, easy way around that, if I'm an employer, is clear, maybe everybody part-time. And now I just avoided everything. That's my whole thing, I was like, okay, if I do it by employee.
Yeah, but what if you're
I can
Monroe's
say, well,
and
I'm
you
just having my
have,
employee.
you have 50 part-time employees? Is that fair that you're paying the same amount of fee when they're there, and when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, not needing any EMS service half the time?
But that was my whole point, we're never gonna find a perfect answer.
All right. Well, let's move on and just really
We-
put the pen to paper.
We're gonna have to, hammer on this, and I want some good work done by the 24th. We have to get it done. But I've really been holding out for the end of session, so we're here now.
Well, it's definitely a session.
Anything else for EMS today?
Well, I guess that's different, the county EMS coordinator job description.
I don't even, we didn't talk about that, because until we decide what we're gonna do, noise or whatever, it doesn't help a lot of things to be worried about right now. We have the descriptions, we'll just cross that bridge when we get there. in my personal
Well, I
opinion.
mean, I'm perfectly fine with the job description that Justin has edited quite a few times. But if we just want to leave that alone for now, we can. But I mean,
I think it's a good job description, and I say that, we can mull it over. And, I mean, we can't really do anything on it just yet, but we're there.
I think it's safe to say that's a good job description if that's the route we take. Okay.
I can go ahead and scratch that off there. You don't need to go over. Thank you, Justin, for your time in that. We'll go ahead. There's nothing else. Do we have any miscellaneous correspondence? Anything?
Joe already
Honestly.
went through.
We do have one personnel matter,
Yes, we do need an executive session.
but for the convenience of the audience, if you'd like to make your comments
Yeah, we
first.
should do that. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Thomas, do you have any miscellaneous correspondence?
Honestly, no, just trying to get through to the EOH on some very important road issues in our county. And it's very discouraging when you can't even get an email back. When you email them literally tens to hundreds of times and you can't even get a response. I will say that, we gotta continue to work on this EMS stuff. I know it's something that's hard, but we're gonna need the county commission to overcome it and find a solution. I think that's all I have to say today.
Well, and just out of, we have been working diligently on EMS. This isn't something that we're not working on, but it is certainly, something that needs to happen sooner than later, so.
I understand we've all been working on it, but I think it's
We can.
time to take the bull by the horns, like you said. That's all I have.
John, did you have anything else? Okay. As most of you saw on your way in this morning, whatever little back roads that you traveled, there was, with the torrential rain last night, there was a lot of stuff being shoved out of ditches. I hope they could come along and just scoop that up, get rid of it. That certainly helped the ditching issue. So Mother Nature's ditching effort was well noted in some areas. With that, I had received correspondence from Trevor Hess out there, Hazelton area, that the DOH had been on Sisler Road for a portion of the way, and he was pleased with the work that they had done, and he's hoping that they're going to
Well, that's
continue
really good.
So that's
And this isn't, we're not putting down the county level at all. This is probably more of a regional state leadership issue, to be honest with you.
all right. Meetings
Do we
this,
go into executive session?
do you have meetings this coming week?
Not this week, they're all next week. I got a bunch of stuff next week.
I have a meeting, I believe, tomorrow. It's my first extension, WVU extension meeting that you graciously let me be part of.
Part of that. All right, so at this time, I move to go into an executive session on a personnel matter. Second.
Actually, I said that.
Did you say that?
I said some more.
I'll second it.
Okay.
That's when my dad was running for,
Seconded to go
was
into
it the
an
Board of
executive
Education?
session on personnel matter.
It was in
Commissioner
old
Smith?
files.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm trying to go through old
I'm
totes
sorry.
for files.
That's awesome.
You might appreciate that.
Absolutely. Wow. That's a blast from the past. I recognize that picture.
Oh.
That's in my bedroom now, but
You bet.
the wrong fireplace.